This is AV SuperFriends Perspectives, a collection of interviews, discussions, and presentations from conferences, trade shows, and events that just don't fit either of the other two shows. Some are long, some are short, but they'll all have valuable insights, useful information, or just good conversation with thought leaders and subject matter experts. And now, the AV SuperFriends.
Hey folks, Jamie again with another Perspectives for AV SuperFriends, and I'm at InfoComm 2025, and I'm still on the show floor finding the cool stuff everybody missed. You walked by because it wasn't in the big booth. Screw the big booths. Let's talk about the good stuff. So I stopped by a smaller section in the middle, and I was surprised. They had some really cool things. It's from Blustream. So I've wrangled in Jason from Blustream?
Jason Fitzgerald from Blustream. Yeah, from our U.S. operations.
Your U.S. operations?
Yeah.
Now, I'd heard of Blustream before, but it was more in like the residential area. But some of the products that I saw here today were more geared towards the commercial side. What was the thinking there?
Yeah, so Blustream got started out in the residential realm. It started out in Australia roughly about a decade ago now. And pursuant to obviously being in the residential market and using a lot of the residential technologies like HDBaseT, of course, being a heavy one, matrix products, extenders, etc., it became more and more apparent as Blustream grew that there is certainly a larger share of the market in the commercial side, especially with the competencies that Blustream has, to kind of push into that space. And there have been some key partnerships that we've had over the years with some organizations. We can't, of course, name all of them, but when you think about the largest sporting venue in the world, Blustream is responsible for providing product for that in a very large capacity. And so from those initial forays into that field, we started to spread out, and then more so into the audio side of things, where a lot of our customer bases outside of the U.S. and then now inside of the U.S. are certainly, especially in a professional capacity, working with audio. So the natural progression for that would to be build products, and Blustream loves to build things using innovative solutions, thinking outside the box, and that's some of the stuff we're showing here on the show.
And I noticed that. Now you guys do have a whole line of AV over IP solutions. I know. That's a show for another day. But for today, it's some of those out-of-the-box thinking devices that caught my eye, and there's a whole series of them, folks, so I encourage you to go to Blustream and check them out, and then contact the guys and see what else you got. But one of them, the one that really caught me first, was, we're sitting in front of it, the HDMI Bluetooth audio extractor and embedder.
Yep.
The first time I saw it, I was like, what? Okay, so where did this generate from?
So, specifically for us, we do work with some wireless technologies, and Bluetooth has always kind of been there, and maybe not used fully in a professional capacity, but a lot of our product conception also comes from, specific customer requests, especially if we see a target market for it, and this is part of that. We have, like I said, long-reaching arms in the European and Australian markets, and the Blue Arc was kind of born from the need, especially when it comes to merging residential and professional audio markets, and that's kind of where this came from. So the Blue Arc does that, right? So it uses currently to date Bluetooth technology but combines it with HDMI, right? And so we've seen this kind of necessity. In fact, even if you go to the web now and search for this kind of specific product, like taking audio return channel off of a TV.
Yes. Oh, it's such a nightmare.
Yep. Right? And then trying to get it into a capacity where then, you can then distribute it in some way, because that is, of course, what we do. That's what this product does. So it combines Bluetooth with HDMI in both a way of taking audio out of HDMI, and that can come from a direct HDMI source or from the ARC port on your TV, right? And so then we can then take that audio and then transmit it then over to Bluetooth. So in that case, it's working as a transmitter. And the opposite side of that, of course, would be to take audio coming in from Bluetooth and then embedding it into HDMI. So there are certainly use cases for both, but it kind of puts all this into a singular package.
So, I'm going to ask you, since it's Bluetooth,
yep,
we have a roadmap with maybe Auracast?
That is a definitive. Area that I can tell you we have already looked into.
So, because look, for an institution like mine, right, or higher ed, right, to be able to use this thing and be more of a broadcast over Bluetooth, like Auracast is capable of doing. Oh my gosh. Again, problem solvers.
Right.
And it may not be today or tomorrow, but I'm just planting the bug. And you're kind of like, maybe.
Yeah, so we've already looked into this. So when looking at this product, obviously being able to set it to 1 or 2 headsets is certainly common. You can find off-the-shelf, products that do that today. But Auracast kind of opens up that possibility for, wide audience usage. So like in education, senior assisted living, there's certainly a lot of use cases for it where we'd want to broadcast the audio to hit a larger audience. And so this is something that has been on the roadmap as a second iteration or a Mark II version of this Blue Arc product, and so it's something that it isn't. I can't tell you confidently today that it is exactly going to happen.
That's all right. The fact that it's on your idea, Mark, your whiteboard, we'll call it. It's on the whiteboard. That's exciting. Cool. I'm going to move on from that, but you did talk about, again, problem solvers. eARC channels, HDMI embedding. One of the problems that we have all the time is we have all these sound bars that you can't really get anything in and out of. But you guys have also combined that capability with Dante.
Yep.
And you have a whole line of Dante products. So let's kind of skirt through those real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So we dove into Dante fairly hard, and there's a lot of natural cohesion with Blustream originating in Australia, Audinate being in Australia, so we have a very good relationship with them. And we started with on and off ramp devices like many companies in this space. And so being, again, problem solving or fixing issues, especially we run into with our customers. And again, being that kind of brand that we'd like to see bridge, I guess, residential and commercial in some cases, that product is kind of a natural progression. And I can honestly tell you, even at this show at InfoComm, that is the product that's probably received the most attention in terms of what's been on our wall of audio Dante solutions. And we have quite a few of them. So as opposed to the normal on and off ramp devices, optical audios, XLRs, etc. ARC, or in this case, ARC directly off of a television poses a number of different use cases, especially as we're seeing a lot of content being directly sourced from the display. And so now getting that back, whether it be in a residential capacity or commercial capacity, is a necessity. And so it seemed kind of natural then for us to kind of embed this into a product that's going to take the digital audio out of ARC and then stick it right onto Dante. And not only that, even offer some control capabilities. Like you can use your CEC that's embedded in your TV to control the input gain, for example, on the actual, on the output side for the Dante. So we've certainly thought about that because providing avenues on how to manage these devices is certainly something we like to think about. And to be honest, I haven't really seen anyone else is doing it. So
no, yes, exactly. And it's something we need.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Well, I've asked you about a couple of things that again, folks, they have a whole product line that's really awesome. I can't hit them all today. But I asked about 2 of the ones I want. So it's your turn. Which one do you kind of, you have the whole booth here. Which one are you like, this thing's really cool and I'm missing it?
Well, okay.
Tell me which one I'm missing.
No, so there is another piece here for Dante. It's called the DA1414. So one of the challenges that we find, especially being in this space where we deal with a lot of integrators, companies who need some form of control, Dante, not that they have a closed system, but you're using domain controller or Dante controller and application to have to manage switching. And if you're not using a large ecosystem with that capabilities built in, you need to find another avenue to try to control it. And we've had this conversation, of course, with Dante, that control is a backbone for this industry because you need to be able to manage all of your products in some way. And so the DA14x14 combines some of these cool things that we already talked about conversion. So you can go in analog audio, you can go in Dante, you can go in USB a la UAC, and then also come out in those same formats. So there's 14 in and 14 out. But since it is an audio matrix, we can manage the routing and control that way. So what you've essentially got is a way to manage or control Dante routing using an external interface, because you communicate to our device using the same kind of control signals that you're already used to doing in a lot of these spaces. That's IR or serial or RS-232, IP, whatever it may be, to help manage that. So now that you've got a kind of a powerhouse of a box that gives you these conversions, like going in USB and coming out Dante, or going in Dante and coming out analog, so it's all built into that box along with that control side. So it's a really cool piece, along with some DSP, parametric EQ. I don't want to get too technical, but
Yeah, but and these are the things that we look for. Like my group, so we're trying to find those cool pieces that you know what? That does fit a need, and now I have to go look it up.
Yeah.
So when I go look it up, where am I going?
So definitely want to check out www.blustream-us.com. That is our site.
Traditional blue? Spell it.
No, so it is Blustream, folks. This is BLU, drop the E with a stream, so BLUSTREAM.
Got it.
-us.com.
Cool. Jason, thanks for giving me 10, 15 minutes of your time and kind of just briefly running through a few of the cool things you guys have here. Folks, go check them out.
No, thank you so much.
It'll be worth your time.
Well, that wraps up another episode of AV SuperFriends Perspectives. If you have a perspective to share, you can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.